Testing. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. Boom, boom. Test, test, test. I'm about to give up on this shit. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. Test, test, test. It's got to be on now. Testing. Can you hear me? Richard, can you hear me? Okay, we're in business now. This stuff drives me crazy. You take, what is that, 1234? What does that mean? Hey, Randy, you still there? Okay. There we go. Double kick. Richard. Randy. Glad that you guys could make it. I'm going to do something a little different tonight. What the heck is that delay? Okay, you know, there's 1,000 videos on YouTube, and everybody's an instructor, everybody's a great teacher, whatever, and they're talking about hand technique all the time. Well, I was very fortunate enough to study with, I would say, the master of hand technique, and that was the Mr. Joe Morello. This man had a set of hands on him that was unbelievable. So, by watching this man play, I would most definitely listen to everything he said. I didn't have to agree at the time that what he said, agree with him. You know, I came from a school before I met Joe or started to study with him called the Adler system. And if you know what the Adler system is, it's a seesaw method. Like so. Now, Henry Adler, I don't know, I never really heard him play. I know that he had the Adler building in New York City, and that building was what is Drummers Collective in New York City today. Without a doubt, Joe Morello was the man. Now, you know, this Moeller thing, the whipping, the Freddie Gruber. I mean, you know, I don't know why everybody gets something so simple, so natural, they get it confused. Number one, let me talk about Freddie Gruber, that's how you pronounce his name. I don't know who he is, really. I don't know anything about what he taught. All I know is I know 3 friends of mine, one-on-one, talking like I'm talking in my drum studio with them, that studied with him. And they all said the same thing about him. And everybody goes to him, like Dave Weckl, Neil Peart. I don't know why. I really don't. The man was crazy, and I mean that respectfully. I know he was an addict. The biggest accomplishment of his life with drumming was he was able to watch Buddy Rich practice. So I always referred to him as Buddy Rich's coffee boy. And I mean that with respect. But everybody swears by him. You know, somebody have a lesson with him, one of my friends have a lesson with him on a Monday. He didn't get to him until Friday. And it wasn't because he was booked. That's the way he taught. So I would kind of stay away from him. Then Jim Chapin, and he had a good set of hands, but he was too much into what they call Moeller. Now, Sanford Moeller was a hell of a snare drum player. Now, you have to remember, Sanford Moeller studied with a Civil War drummer. And those guys hit hard only because they were out on a field giving the troops cadences for commands. They would play on a very deep kind of drums, no tension rods. It was only tuned with rope, and it was a mule skin or a calf skin. Okay, that's not it though. Double kicks, that's not it. It's not that. What it is, there was a drug involved with Freddie, unfortunately, but you know, he got hooked up on the one you shoot in the arm. That's pretty sad. Anyway, you know, my opinion, you know, Sanford Moeller, number one, made a statement that he was not satisfied with the way they presented his book, The Moeller System. So I want to go past all of this, and I want to say this. You know, they document this, they say this, they refer to it as the Moeller System. Fine, whatever you want. It's a simple process. It's the laws of physics. That's all it is. Nobody owns it, okay? It's a simple process. I have my, first off, there's some prerequisites tonight that you should understand with the lessons that we're going to do. I gave you 18, 19 pages. We're not going to be able to cover all of them tonight, but we're going to cover quite a few. And this is actually geared, the next couple of minutes is geared to people who don't understand sticking heights or level systems, AKA control strokes. Now, like I said, it's a natural way. You know, I'm not going to really get into a whole scientist of weights and measures and velocity and all this good stuff. I'm just going to get into a very simple scenario of sticking heights and distance, okay? Now, if I hold my stick in I don't know if you can see that, the full stroke position. What I do, I'm about 18, the tip of my stick is about 18 inches off the drum, or drum pad in this case. When I throw down the stick is going to have, I'm giving it one action, there's an opposite reaction. That opposite reaction, watch. I throw down, I'm sorry, made a mistake, throw down, the stick comes automatically back. I let the laws of physics flow. And because the distance is pretty great, about 18 inches, I have to kind of throw that stick down for it to come back, and I got to throw it down hard, but I'm relaxed. I'm getting a one sound, a loud sound, okay? Now, there's videos out there, and I'm glad you can see the bottom of my hand. All right, there's one teacher, I don't know, they call him the ambassador or whatever the hell they call him, I don't know how he ever got the name, but he throws the stick down, I'm gonna do it slow. He throws the stick down, and as it comes up, he opens his hand, and when it comes back here to receive it, he grabs it. That's totally ridiculous, like this. And I watch his students that are friends of mine do that. Why? That's an unnecessary movement, and it creates tension in the arm. See that hand move out and grab it like that? That's ridiculous. Okay, so now, all I do is I throw the stick down and follow it back. In reality, you play the drum set with your hands. Your sticks are an extension of your hand. Now, we're going to get back to that control stroke or the sticking heights. That's 18 inches. I'm going to get a pretty loud sound there. Now, if I don't want such a loud sound, I mean, there's other things I can do with this position. Just throw the stick down lightly, but it's still going to come back, and there wasn't a whole lot of velocity there. But let's just throw it down one way. Okay? We're throwing it down. I'm not loosening the stick. My hand is following the stick back to its starting position, and I'm holding it. I stop it. No tension whatsoever. And the distance is pretty far. So I'm going to develop a consistent, louder sound. Now, the next sticking height is the half stroke. That's about 18 inches from the drum. So now, theoretically or technically or scientifically, whatever you want to say, because the distance is shorter and I'm going to throw it down from that point, it should actually be softer. That's a half stroke. That's a full stroke, half stroke. And one more, the quarter stroke. I'm throwing down even closer. So I have this. Now, there's a whole spectrum of sounds that I could obtain from my starting point. If you look at it from here all the way down, I could start here, I could start here. That's where my dynamics come in. Now, I don't want to get into this, what they call the whip, because in my opinion, there is no whip. You don't have time to do a whip when you're playing up-tempo. It's a pumping motion with the elbow into the body. Now, if you look at the PDFs, what I did is I gave you a right-hand way and a left-hand way. That's to strengthen your right side and your left side. And we're going to do them slow. I'm just going to do eighth notes with one hand on the right side. Now, if you, line one on the right side, all you have is a vamp. Now, I'm not playing the accents, I'm playing one sound. Okay? Now, you look at the left-hand side of that line, you see quarter notes. That's going to tell me that's where I want the accent. And that's actually stick control book, minus the lefts. So it's going to tell me I want an accent on the count of 1, 2, 3, 4. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Simple process. My stick's here, I get an accent. I have to stop it here to get a lighter sound. But I have to put my hand back in position to get the next up and coming accent. I'm back. It's down, up, down. Now when I make impact on the drum pad or the snare drum, I don't grab the stick tightly. I stop the stick. I stop it. Simple. A lot of guys, and I had a teacher at one time. He was he worked at the Adler building, and he taught the seesaw method like this. But he said everything was squeezed and pinched, and that creates tension, and that's totally off the wall. So I'm playing the first line, eighth notes, like so. I want an accent on the count of 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you want on the PDF, on the 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and you can put down, up, because that's the movement. It's down, up, down, two different sounds. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now I'm in one position, I'm demonstrating it slowly, so I'm just coming from my wrist. But you see my elbow. That's not a whip. That elbow comes in before I make the accent. You see the elbow? I can't understand these guys. They go, they whip it and they bring it over their head. That's ridiculous. When you're playing here, you don't have time for that. Watch my elbow. It's a pumping motion. Now, that's the first line on the right side. Let's go to the second line. It's the same thing, but it's a left-hand vamp. Okay, so we have now the same position. We have a down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. 1 and 2, no more, whatever you want to call it. It's the laws of physics. No Freddy Gruber, whoever that is. It's Sir Isaac Newton, whatever. For every action, there's an opposite reaction. Down, I stopped it, up. So I'm playing my right hand, down, up, down, up. I'm getting that accent. I'm developing the two sounds consistently on my right side and my left side. Now, you have the option, and there's some really cool things to, ways to practice this. Right now, I'm just, demonstrating it. But for example, if I did the first line, and I'm starting with the right hand, I could do that 1,000 times at a variety of tempos, or I could do it with the left hand. A 1,000 times. But a fun way to do that would be to do it right one time, left one time, right one time, left one time, back and forth. Or you could reference off line 3, 2 times right, 2 times left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, so on and so forth. I just got a cramp from the air condition. Sorry, guys. But that's all it is. It's just a simple process. Line 2, okay? Again, both the right side and left side. This time the accent shifts over. Instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, excuse me, it's on the ands. So my starting position has to be a lighter sound. But I have to get myself in position again to nail the accent. So I'm going to have an upstroke, downstroke. Now when I'm playing live, or I'm playing the drum set, or I'm making a statement with my hands, I'm not thinking about this because it's natural. And when you practice slow, all you're doing is reinforcing what is natural. Look at that elbow. It's not a whip. It's not. That's levitating, man. It's the elbow. 1, 2, 3, 4. Putting my body, no tension at all. Okay, now that's on the and. And I do the same thing with my left. It's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Back and forth. Any way you want to practice it. Now, if you go to the third one, that's actually line 5. Actually, this is the stick control book, minus the lefts. I'm writing the notation out. But if you look at it, you say, well, no, that's the syncopation book. And I always say, the syncopation book is the stick control book. Same thing. Or you want to do vice versa. But anyway, now, something else is going to occur here. We have 2 accents in a row. What do we do with that? Uh-oh. We pound them, we whip, that's nonsense. So we revert to the control strokes of the level system. The first stroke is an accent. So I'm throwing down like so. And I'm now still in position to hit the second accent without any exertion. Let me do the 1 again. 1, and. But now the and has to be down. Why does the and have to be down? Because my next stroke is lighter. So that's going to be on the 2. It's a tap. 2. Now I come to the and of 2. I have to set myself up in position to nail the accent. And. So I have 1, and, 2, and, 3. I'm sorry. 3, and, 4, and, 1, and, 2, and. You let the stick flow. You let the laws of physics work. If you fight the laws of physics, guess what's going to happen? You're going to lose. You're going to get frustrated. You're going to get tense. It's going to hurt you. Now, again, I'm telling you, I do not think about this when I'm playing. It's natural. When I'm doing it slowly, 1 and, or 1 and, 2 and. It's natural. I'm working. It's a movement. Okay, now, and the same thing with the left hand. It's a free stroke. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. It's simple. And now we go to let me get the page out. Oh, I want to go to the paradiddle. That's actually, hold on. Because I don't want to stay just on the 8th notes. I want to go to other notation here. So we're going to go to page 2. And what I like to hit is line 9. Now, if you don't know how to read, what can I tell you? Time to learn. Okay. line number, what was that? 9. I look at the notation, it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and simple. So I'm underlining it with this. And I want that reference as the accent. So now my 1 and has to be up. So I have down, up. Now I have a free stroke, down, up, down, tap, up. All right, now if you want, if it's making, I didn't want to clutter the score. So what I'm doing, if you look at line 9, the first stroke, if you go to the right side, the accent, the eighth notes that are accented, you have a downstroke. You can put a D under that first R. The next R is an upstroke. Why is it an upstroke? Well, look at it, I got 2 up and coming accents. So the 2 is a free stroke. You can put an F under there, 2. The and of 2 is a downstroke. Why? Because my next right is not an accent, it's just a half stroke. But it has to come up to get in position to nail the next accent. And do we understand all this? Any questions so far? Any questions? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Any questions? Gentlemen, please respond. Questions make it easier for me. I know you don't want me to make it easy for me, but questions are accepted. No credit card needed. Thank you, Randy. But it's the laws of physics. Everybody makes a big issue out of it. All right, so that was actually the first 5 lines of stick control, but I did it a little bit different. I attacked it with the notation. That's to stimulate your reading abilities. If you don't know how to read, speak up, man up. Say, no, I don't know how to read. I'd like to learn. Fine, we'll do a reading lesson. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay, so now let's go to the left. That was the first guy. That was accent development part 1. Now I can't go over all of this. You know, it took a long time to write this stuff. So I'm going to go to accent development, okay, part 2. Now, instead of using now eighth notes, we're going to be using triplets. Again, I count the eighth note triplet differently than most guys. Most guys go 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. That's not incorrect. If it works for you, go with it. I don't particularly care for that. I count an eighth note triplet 2 ways. 1 and the, 2 and the, 3 and the, 4 and the. Okay, or for subdivisional reasons, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we established the eighth note triplet. 1, 2, 3, 4. Listen to the consistency of my sound. My right hand is coming down from one spot, and again, scientifically, theoretically, laws of physics. Coming down from the same spot, make an impact, constantly in rhythm, it's the same sound. So, let's do the first guy, the right side of the measure. Now, we have the eighth note triplet like we just did on top. Now, we're going, underlining 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to nail the accent 1, 2, 3, 4 because that's the left-hand side is telling me on the count of 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm going to drop the accent. So now, you guys want to write this in there? It's up to you. The first stroke of that triplet is a downstroke. I'm coming from this full stroke position to the downstroke, which ends about 2 inches, 3 inches off the drum. The second note of the triplet, which is the and, is a tap. Nice sound. All right? Now the duh of the triplet is going to have to be an upstroke. Now I'm in position to nail the accent. 1 and the, 2 and the, 3 and the, 4 and the, 1, 2, so on and so forth. Now, believe it or not, I'm not being condescending to any of these great instructors or whatever they are. All right? But their language, it's a matter of, I guess, semantics. They get it all confused. Everybody gets confused. When I say this is natural, this is the laws of physics, Sir Isaac Newton is the guy who got the hit in the head with the apple, man, He had a good time. He said, all right, drummers, this is what you got to do. But believe it or not, you get a little kid, say 6, 7 years old, he will naturally grab the drumsticks like so. Okay, so that's it. That is a natural way. And he likes you and he wants to do what you do. So you're on a drum or a drum pad and you're going like this. Believe it or not, he will do that. Now you say, all right, let's do it together, and he's doing it. And you say, okay, let's hit one louder. One note louder. He naturally will lift that drumstick and bring it back down without any tension. That's a natural way. No confusion there. Okay, let's go back to the triplet. First line, number 1. On the first note of the triplet, you might want to put a downstroke. The second note of the triplet, a tap. The third note of the triplet, an upstroke. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Same thing with the left hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. So on and so forth. It's down, tap, up. I want to see them do the whip at a tempo like this. That's from the wrist. I want to get a louder sound. It's that pumping motion. That's not a whip. It's a pump. My elbow is going into the side of my body. Look at that elbow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. It's not a whip. That's if I disrupt that stick, and I will disrupt it by doing a whip like so and coming down, you're going to have a problem with sound. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Same thing with the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. It's a whip. It gets me crazy. Everybody gets everybody confused and they think they know everything. The ambassador himself throws a stick down and grabs it like that. Is ridiculous. Okay, now let's go to the third line. Now what we're doing is we're interpreting the line instead of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and we're swinging the line. So now to swing the line, all the ands become the duh of the triplet. Now line number 3, I'm going to do just with my right hand, but I'm going to swing it. So I'm counting 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and on the count of 1, it's a rest. The 8th note is the duh of the triplet. So I'm going to have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and . So now I apply the triplet vamp. Now I'm just going to hit the duh as an accent. So the first stroke is going to be a tap. The second stroke of the triplet is going to be an up. And the third stroke of the triplet is going to be down to hit the accent. And I'm still now in position to continue. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and . Look at that elbow. It's not a whip. I need to emphasize that constantly. I want to do one more before I close up. Excuse me. Let's do line 5. All right? It's 2 rights. It's going to be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And that's straight up and down. We want to swing it. So we're going to have 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4 and the. Again, the ands become the duh of the triplet. So I do the triplet on the bottom, and I'm going to have the accent now, the 1 and the duh of the first triplet. 2 and the triplet is not accented. So now, how do I do this? All right? The first guy is a downstroke. Up, down, tap, tap, up. You guys writing this down? You understand the levels? Want me to slow that down a little bit? Give you line 5. That's line 5. The first stroke is a downstroke, upstroke, downstroke. Tap, tap, up to get in position. Are you guys writing it down, yes or no? Now I want to continue on this come tomorrow night. Tomorrow's Wednesday and Thursday. All right, and I've been working, we're going to do tunes as an exercise using accents. I've sent out, I think so far, some John Coltrane stuff. I'm working on A Moment's Notice. Some Billy's Bounce I'm working on. Impressions. And I've been working on quite a few. You will get them, most definitely. And you know, you can have fun practicing. Thank you, Randy. It's just, you understood it, but it was never brought to your attention. The thing is, it's just, you know, you know who's really brilliant with this stuff? And I learned a lot from him. Good friend of mine. Alan Herman. Okay, so Alan Herman really gets into the technical, scientific way. The guy's a great player besides, he explains this and gives some really good examples of how to develop sound out of your drumstick. Now, do we all agree that we play the drums with our hands and the sticks are an extension of our hands? Do we agree that we don't do this nonsense? We don't throw the stick down and when it comes back, grab it like so? Because when you grab it, you have a muscle movement in your arm that stiffens your arm. Yeah, Alan Herman is a great drummer. Just to give you a little briefing on Alan, we're good friends. He's been going back and forth to China, and as soon as he gets some time, he's going to come here. We're going to have a really great discussion about all of this stuff live. But Alan Herman, he was the original drummer with Bob Fosse's, I guess it was Bob Fosse, Jesus Christ Superstar, Pimpin', Dancing, all that good stuff. Alan is a very knowledgeable, brilliant man, and he's very dear to me. We argue like husband and wife, but that's okay. I learn by arguing with him, and he learns from me. I mean, he's just a good friend, and he's always willing to help. Anyway, is there any questions in relationship to tonight's lesson? Because this air conditioner is stiffing me up. No, Alan's New York, Brooklyn, not Jersey. I'm the Jersey guy. Okay? Alan is brilliant. He's actually done he helped out with a few of the camps that I've done in the past. And he's always on Facebook interacting with other drummers. And if you notice, the Art of Drumming has 86,000. We're hitting 87,000 in a couple days. Members, my goodness. So anybody wants to join a Facebook group, The Art of Drumming, the Joe Morello Master Studies, the Stick Control Formula Room, the Gary Shafee Room. There's so many, and they're all loaded, and it's a great thing to do. Okay? Now, if anybody does not have the PDFs, on this particular lesson. There's like 19 pages. I will send them to you. My email, let me put it in here. And let me get that out. Hold on. That is my email. It sure would be, but I mean, I'm not paid $1. It most certainly would. Let me get double kicks. Oh, we most definitely will. This is just the beginning of this series of accent development. We're going to take each sticking pattern and we're going to go against the stick control book and we're going to develop accents. We're going to do this. I literally say 1,000, 10,000 different ways. I got an email the other day. Can you send me the 10,000 different ways that you have had the PDFs and 10,000 different ways you can do the stick control book? Huh? Hello. What was the question? Hoping you can share with us some of Joe Morello's approaches to playing paradiddles in triplets. Without a doubt. First off, the triplet itself, 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4, I refer to it as a paratriplet. Let me demonstrate that real quick. I'm playing a paradiddle. I'm maintaining the sticking. Now here I'm thinking the quarter notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, or eighth notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now, if I go to triplets, I'm going to count 1 and 2 and my pulse with the pulses are going to be on 1 and 2 and the 3 and 4 and. It's referred to as a paratriplet. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now I'm going to do a whole series on that if you'd like. That's just very brief. Okay, if you really want to challenge the paradiddle, it's not that you challenge it, you're going to fight with it. Do Joe Morello's table of time with a paradiddle sticking. There's just so much to do, and it's so overwhelming. You start thinking of this, start thinking of that. Certain things that you practice open up other areas, and you get overwhelmed, and you go all over the place, and that's a good thing, but you don't really accomplish a whole lot because you're all over the place. Okay, so now I'm going to have to close it down, and remember, anybody who would like to contribute a $1 donation, $2 donation, or $5 donation, or whatever you could afford, you could email it. Use that email to my PayPal account. I would sincerely appreciate it. The more contributions or donations I get, I will extend the lessons. Instead of 1 time a day, 2 times a day. Just put it in my pay. Whether it's $1, I don't care. $2, $3, $5. I mean, if you want to be Donald Trump and send me $1 million, that's cool too. Anyway, guys, I hope I've helped somewhat. This is the beginning of a whole series of drum pad exercises that I'm going to do. Richard, welcome. Please come back. Ricardo, I'm sorry. Zenoe, is that it? Where are you from, Richard? I mean, Ricardo, where are you from? It's not that I'm the man. You know what? Let me just make this statement before I do close up. In the beginning of the lesson, I talked about Henry Adler. And everybody needs to make money. And a lot of guys commercialize. I'm not going to sell myself I'm not going to sell myself short at all. What I am going to do is be myself and be the truth. Okay? I can bullshit everybody and play, 9,000 miles an hour, demonstrate what I can do and not teach you, or teach you something I don't agree with, and that's not what I'm going to do. I'm going to be me. I'm going to project and explain what I was taught and what works for me. If that works for you, great, man. Samba land, Brazil. I was in Rio de Janeiro, Copacabana, Ipanema, Sao Paulo. It's a great country. All right, listen, guys, make friends. Please come back tomorrow night, 7:30. The remainder of the week's going to be on here. Now, like I said, if I do get a donation, and enough donations to keep this thing going, I will. I will do it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, twice a day. Different lessons, different levels of players. Okay, gentlemen? You guys have a good day, a good night, rest of the night. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me. Now, I'm working on the Coltrane and the Charlie Parker PDFs. You'll be getting them shortly as well. So, guys, have a good day. Any